UFC Fight Night Vegas 20, Rozenstruik versus Gane takes place this weekend, and I'm going to go through the card and find you guys some names that you need to be paying attention to, on the prelims especially, because there are a ton of fun matchups on this card. However, some fighters are flying under the radar, so these are my fighters to watch out for at UFC Vegas 20 this weekend. I'm going to start with the most interesting one of them, because some of these fighters to watch out for have only just signed to fight on this card this very week. I'm going to start with that one first. We have Ramazan Kuramagomedov on the card. We have another Magomedov in the UFC. I feel like we're hitting double-digit Magomedovs right now in the UFC. They're out of nowhere. Well, actually, they're out of Dagestan, and they're doing real well recently as well. This one's undefeated. Ramazan, 8-0 so far in his career. Looks really good. Had a fight on the Contender Series not too long ago against Jordan Williams, who eventually ended up getting signed to the UFC, I believe, as well. Had a great performance on the Contender Series. Jordan Williams, great opponent, went to a split decision with Ramazan Kuramagomedov on that card at middleweight. This fight that he's taken against Alex Oliveira is at welterweight, I believe, or it may even be at a catchweight bout, I would assume, because his last few fights have been at middleweight. So I'm assuming that the fight between him and Alex Oliveira is going to be at catchweight, unless he's going to drain himself back down to 170 like he was at before, because he started at 170, moved up to middleweight to get some notice and get some chances on two different divisions that he could potentially get signed in by the UFC. Got on the Contender Series, had a very, very close fight with Jordan Williams, where he got kind of shown a little bit of the problems in his game. He slowed down a little bit in that fight, but pushed a good pace. Just looked a little bit sloppy in certain moments on the feet against Jordan Williams. Now, Jordan Williams is a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Ramazan Kuramagomedov got shown a little bit of what he needs to work on after that fight. But this is the kind of Dagestani that isn't going to take you down and pin your arm behind your back and just land shots over and over and over again. This is the kind of Dagestani that's going to be throwing sunshine kicks, okay? This is that Zabit strain of Dagestani from Makachalaka, okay? This is a different kind of Dagestani. This is Kuromagomedov, not just any Magomedov, Kuromagomedov. The Kura must stand for flying kicks or something like that. I'm not even too sure. However, great fighter, very, very dangerous. Looking forward to seeing him take on Alex Oliveira this weekend. We'll see if he's got it. Had some good fights as well after the Contender Series. Not good opponents, however, but he went on and won 2 fights pretty impressively against some opponents outside of the UFC, of course, and off of the Contender Series. Had a very close fight on the Contender Series, had to go back to the drawing board afterwards, didn't get signed, won 2 fights, now he's back again on short notice. Very, very young guy as well. I believe he's about 23 years of age, although he might be 24. I can't find his age anywhere, but I know that he was 22 on the Contender Series. Speaks good English as well, and I assume that it's gotten better over these past few years. Really looking forward to seeing him making his debut this weekend. Beat some good guys on his record in Georgi Valentinov, who was 18-4 at the time. He's got some good names under his wing, and I feel like he might go on to do some real dangerous things in any division in the UFC that he chooses to go into. I prefer him in the middleweight division, because as much as Dana White says the middleweight division is the most stacked in the UFC, it's not. It's somewhat shit. So we kind of need him in there right now. So we'll see how things go. Maybe he moves up afterwards if he is taking this fight at 170. Moving on to another guy that you need to watch out for, Ronnie Lawrence. Ronnie the Heat Lawrence. He's very dangerous. Also from the Contender Series as well, by the way. There's going to be a bit of a recurring theme here with these contenders. Maybe that's why they call it the Contender Series. Either way, dangerous guy, come off the Contender Series, beat a guy in Jose Johnson who was 11-5 at the time, don't get me wrong, but he lost a lot of his earlier bouts, went on a massive win streak, got onto the Contender Series, beat a couple of good names before getting to the Contender Series. His opponent falls out of the Contender Series, I believe his name was Anthony Jones, and then all of a sudden, Ronnie Lawrence gets the call on short notice the week of the fight. He wasn't training, gets in there with a dangerous guy in Jose Johnson who's got momentum, who's got a win streak, who's beat some good opponents, and just goes out there and shows him the ropes in the grappling department. He's a very good grappler. He's good on the feet as well. I like his grappling a little bit more, but maybe that's just because he was on short notice. He maybe wanted to rely on his grappling a little bit more than being on the feet, because you can kind of be sloppy in grappling and not be punished the same way that you would be if you were sloppy on the feet. If you're sloppy on the feet, you can get switch off KO'd. If you're sloppy in the grappling, you might not pass to half guard so quickly. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different situation. I know there's some submissions that guys can get off their back, but Ronnie Lawrence, very good fighter, showed great grappling in his Contender Series fight. He's got some KOs on the feet as well. Fought some decent competition opponents. 2-0 guy, another 2-0 guy, recently 11-5. Not the best in the world, don't get me wrong, but they're signing him up anyway because he did them a favor by stepping up on short notice on the Contender Series. We'll see what he's got. 28 years of age, very good guy. I think he does beat his opponent in Vince Cartero. Running out of voice here as I speak. I think he does beat his opponent, Vince Cartero. Very good fighter, Vince Cartero, however. Good test for him to come into the UFC because Vince is no slouch himself. He's only lost to some decent guys. Jamal Emmers is a decent opponent. Casey Kenny as well was another one of his losses. Other than that, he only lost a split decision, but he's beat some decent guys. I feel like Ronnie Lawrence is going to get the better of him by mixing it all together. He's a very well-rounded fighter, and I think he's going to show that this weekend. I truly believe that Ronnie Lawrence has got this one in the bag. Young guy, new to the division. We'll see how he does. I think he'll do pretty well overall. Moving on to another contender on the card, Sabina Marzo. You have to watch out for this one as well. The Colombian Queen is here. Okay, I know we just watched the Colombian Warrior, Danny Chavez, lose, but Colombia's got a second chance here 2 weeks in a row to try and make things correct. 3-fight win streak in the division. Sabina Marzo, a very, very dangerous flyweight. Looking forward to her bout. She just beat Justine Kish. I know these aren't really great wins, but there's some decently recorded opponents. JJ Aldridge was 8-3. She beat her. I don't know how it was a split decision, but she beat her. It was a close fight though either way, but still, she's very good. Very rangy on the feet. Got good stand-up. Very good striking. She got 2 head kicks in a row in her career earlier on, which is not something you usually see in the women's MMA in general, to be honest with you. So I like that. I like seeing a bunch of KOs and some good head kick KOs. She got 2 in a row on the regional scene, as I just said. But she's very good. She lost to Marina Moroz, but it was a very close fight. She kind of just didn't pull the trigger fast enough because in the 3rd round, she was all over Marina Moroz, landing good shots, even nearly doubling her on significant strikes in the 3rd round. The 1st round was very close, 9-9, but some certain things here and there edge it towards the way of Marina Moroz in that bout, like a takedown and some control time. All good. Sabina Marzo is only going to learn moving forward, and Marina Moroz is also quite a good contender as well, and that's the only person who's beaten her. She's 10-3 on a 2-fight win streak right now and beat Mayro Bueno Silva, who's on the main card of this very same fight night. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Sabina Marzo can do. Very good on the feet. She's got some good reach for her division as well, 70-inch reach. I feel like she's going to do quite well in the women's flyweight division because that division is wide open right now to try and get some talented prospects into the rankings. And I think if she wins this one, I mean, she's going to jump right up because I believe Alexis Davis is ranked. And that is her test, by the way. Alexis Davis is the test, but I believe that the flyweight women's division in the UFC is so dog shit that Alexis Davis is ranked. That's how terrible the division is. And I may be mistaken here. Am I mistaken here? No, I'm not. It is that shit. Oh, wow. Yes, she's still ranked right now, Alexis Davis, in that division. And I feel like Sabina Marzo's going to school her and earn herself a ranked spot in that division as well. How are you on a 3-fight losing streak and still ranked? But, like, fair play, I guess. She beat Liz Carmouche by split decision, maybe. That's the reason. And Carmouche was pretty highly ranked at flyweight, but still, man, that division is shit. I think Sabina Marzo's going to go out there and get the job done, be a little bit too rangy on the feet, be a little bit too tricky on the feet as well. Just overall be the better fighter, avoid the grappling situations. I think she schools Alexis Davis over the 3 rounds. Davis is known to bleed and get beaten up a bit in her fight. She's taken a bunch of damage in her career. I think Marzo's just going to waltz around the outside, sticking something in her face non-stop. 1-2s down the pipe, head kicks maybe behind it. I don't think she gets a finish over Alexis Davis. I want her to, kind of. She got a finish in her last fight against Justine Kish. She did not need to go for the finish there. She just wanted a finish in the 3rd round by rear naked choke, latched it up, got it done against Justine Kish. I feel like she will beat Alexis Davis by decision. We'll see how it goes. It might be quite close because you never really know in these divisions, in all honesty, how things are going to go, but I feel like she will get it done against Alexis Davis. I'm pretty confident, and the odds are confident as well, so it kind of makes me a little bit more confident. However, I worry because every single time odds sometimes make sense, the fight goes the other way. So it's interesting. Moving on up the card to the headliner of the prelims. I don't know why he's the headliner of the prelims, so I've put him in this video because normally I wouldn't put him in this video because you guys probably have already heard of him. Alexander the Great Hernandez. He's on the prelims of this card, and it confuses me to the royalest of levels. I don't understand why he's on the prelims of this card. He's good on the mic. He's promotable. He has good finishes in his career. He's coming off an amazing finish against Chris Gertschmacher in his last bout. Alexander Hernandez has got power in his hands. He's got great finishes. He finished Beneil Dariush, and he's not even on the main card of this fight night. I don't understand the layout of the card. It's not like he's from the UK and they're trying to sort out the time zones. Like, he genuinely deserves to be on the main card. And he's fighting a guy who also deserves to be on the main card, Thiago Moises. I know he arguably lost his last fight to Bobby Green. However, Alexander Hernandez and Thiago Moises, that's like feature fight level stuff, no? Why is it on the prelims? I guess to make way for 12-9 Angela Hill to be on the main card, because of course we are the Ultimate Fighting Championship, which means we have to display the best level of fighting, which is exactly why 12-9 Angela Hill and 8-6 Ashley Yoder is on the main card over Alexander Hernandez, who's currently 12-3, and 14-4 Thiago Moises. Both guys have good records. Both guys have lost to some decent people. Drew Dober for Alexander Hernandez. Bit of a tough matchup for him in hindsight. Dober just wore on him in the second round, eventually came for him. Just a seek and destroy mission from Drew Dober in the second round. As soon as he started to see Alexander Hernandez slow down a little bit, full systems go on Alexander Hernandez. He just started piling it on and getting the job done. But when Alexander Hernandez can dictate the pace, which I feel like he can, against a Thiago Moises who literally on the feet does nothing but back up against the cage and accept that he's going to lose the stand-up situation, I feel like when you give Alexander Hernandez that space to work and be creative and take the first foot forward, I feel like he's going to lead the dance out there and do a little bit of an Alexander Hernandez performance like he did to Chris Gertschmacher. I can see him getting a quick KO against Thiago Moises because Johnson was piecing up Moises. Other opponents have been piecing up Moises. Bobby Green outlanded him double nearly every single round, but still the fight goes to Thiago Moises. That, by the way, if that fight did not go that way and it actually went to Bobby Green, I would have had an undefeated card on that entire card, and I would have called Bobby Green by decision as well, but whatever. All good, I'm over it. This isn't a revenge pick against Thiago Moises. This isn't emotionally based whatsoever. I'm just picking Alexander Hernandez to KO Thiago Moises viciously for what he has done to me in my perfect record. That's all. Other than that, though, Alexander Hernandez really is going to go out there and piece him up, in my opinion. Thiago Moises is very good. He's actually lost to some really good guys as well. Damir Ismagulov, disappearing act, but actually a contender at one point in the division. Beneil Dariush as well. He lost to him. Alexander Hernandez KO'd Beneil Dariush, but a lot of people don't like looking at that fight because he kind of like... It was a weird fight, and I feel like if you play it 5 times over, it's not going to go that way 5 times. However, he went out there and KO'd Beneil Dariush in the first round. Diego Ferreira couldn't do that. Drew Dober couldn't do that. He got smushed in the second and submitted. Drakkar Klose couldn't do that. Frank Camacho couldn't do that. Thiago Moises himself could not do that, okay? Rashid Magomedov, 19-1, couldn't do it. James Vick couldn't do it. Even James Vick couldn't do it. That's the level of opponent you're talking about here with Beneil Dariush. I feel like Alexander Hernandez, it's a great win to have on his career. It shows how explosive he is in the first round if he can get his own way and dictate the pace and get what he wants. If you put pressure on him and give him something to worry about on the feet, he seems to fight a little bit differently. Donald Cerrone gave him the knee to worry about. Every single time Alexander Hernandez rushed in, Cerrone would just meet him with a knee right into the chest and it would sort of put Hernandez off. Eventually, Cerrone starts shifting the tide his way. I just feel like if you give him that space on the feet like Thiago Moises will, and just back up looking for openings where you can get the submissions off, I think Hernandez is going to take that opportunity and pass it with flying colours. I think he gets a first round KO over Thiago Moises. I think it's going to be vicious, and I think we're going to be looking at moving Alexander Hernandez into those rankings. He should already be in the rankings. I don't know why he's not. He did beat Beneil Dariush, as I said before. I don't know how... It's weird, in my opinion. Sometimes when someone gets an early KO, everyone's going crazy over it. Sometimes when another guy gets an early KO, fluke. He literally timed the perfect right hand on Dariush's chin in the first round and KO'd him out cold. He's that explosive if you give him that opportunity. And I think he'll have that opportunity against Thiago Moises. But the lightweight division right now, you've got some guys that are ranked that arguably should not be ranked. I mean, they all should be ranked in all honesty. However, Alexander Hernandez is probably going to shimmy up there above Gregor Gillespie if he gets a good win here. He beat Beneil Dariush, of course, as I've said many times before. Drew Dober isn't even ranked right now in the lightweight division. I guess RDA joined. joined and Chandler joined at the same time. So the bottom two of the lightweights just got shimmied out completely. That makes sense, actually, now I'm looking at it like that. RDA and Chandler kind of stole 2 spots at lightweight out of nowhere. So I feel like he's not going to get ranked after this one then. Unless Gregor Gillespie loses. But if Gregor Gillespie loses, then Dober's going to get ranked for his fight with Makhachev coming up soon. So there's no chance of him gaining ranking here. However, I'd like to see Alexander Hernandez maybe take on a guy like... Who else is going to talk a little bit of shit with Alexander Hernandez? I'm not too sure, to be honest. I had a great name for him before, but still. There's some fun matchups to make, like if Kevin Lee gets a win against Diego Ferreira, and he's number 11 or 12 in the lightweight division, looking to get another win. I'd love to see Kevin Lee versus Alexander Hernandez at a press conference. That could be like a fight that, because of the trash talking that would build up to it, could be in some kind of main event of a fight night, just because of the trash talking alone, you know? Like Kevin Lee did it with Michael Chiesa before. There was that beef that they had at a press conference. It was the main event of a fight night, and it did better because of it, because of that beef that they had. I feel like if Kevin Lee gets a win over Diego Ferreira, or maybe like someone else, if Kevin Lee gets a win over anyone, I'm down to see him versus Alexander Hernandez, so long as Alexander Hernandez passes the test this weekend against Thiago Moises. And it's a big test as well. If he gets a KO like I think he will in the first round, it'll be proof that he's as good as I think he is, and he has that potential. We'll see how far he can go. I know a lot of people also look at the Francisco Trinaldo fight and say, he lost that fight. I don't feel like he lost that fight. It was very close. They like evenly struck with each other in many rounds. Maybe he edged one round and Trinaldo edged another round, and the first round was like 9-9 on stats, I believe. But like he tore his rotary cuff, or not? What did he tear? He had a bucket handle tear. That's what it's called, a bucket handle tear on his shoulder in the middle of that fight. Couldn't throw it, and still went out there against Francisco Trinaldo, who KO'd Jai Herbert, who was looking good in that fight as well. And Trinaldo is a dangerous test, and he's beaten a lot of guys in that division, and showed that he's nobody's fool. And with one arm, Alexander Hernandez goes out there and ekes a close decision that half of you disagree with, but half of you agree with. That's enough credit on its own, in my opinion. Very dangerous contender. I know the Drew Dober fight was a bit of a setback, but I think he's going to get some momentum here against Moises, and we'll see what happens afterwards. Maybe if he doesn't get a Kevin Lee, he can get a guy like a Rafael Fiziev, or an Arman Tsarukyan, or someone like this just outside the lightweight rankings that's a big name that a lot of people are looking at as maybe a good talent that could go on and take the belt in that division. Rafael Fiziev or Arman Tsarukyan fit under that bracket, and I think if Alexander Hernandez gets a win here, Tsarukyan's already called him out last fight, so I think he's probably going to call him out again, and that'll be a great fight to see. Like and subscribe, guys. I'll see you later. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. Goodbye. Those are my fighters to watch out for. Yeah.